Hey, so this is fairly new. I decided that it's time for me to share some of the knowledge and insight that I've gotten from Spirit along the way about a number of things. But in this particular video, I'm going to share some insight about grief. Grief is characteristically characteristically known as something that is very sad, very hard, and inevitable. So those are the few things that we know about it. No one really teaches us how to grapple with death or transition is what I more so would prefer to refer to it as, because I don't really, let's be real. No one goes anywhere. Energy is everything, and everything is energy. And with that in mind, if you want to go a little bit further, even I want to say it's the law of entropy, and I need to check to make sure I'm fairly certain. Entropy or entropy. Either way, energy is neither created nor destroyed, but transformed into another form, which is what happens because we to our energy. It is something that is not commonly discussed, so it's hard. Anyway, when people transition, they they choose that. Just like they've chosen to come here for their own purpose and their own journey, they get to choose when to go. Now, it's unknown whether they know exactly what kind of transition or what will take place in order that they transition, like how they die. So yeah, that is something that makes it more difficult because sometimes people die heinously and we don't often understand it. I know how that goes. I have been through this to be able to even talk about it. I'm not sure how many people even discuss death, even though it is very commonly known, everyone knows, in fact, that we are only living our lives every day getting closer to death, but that doesn't make it any easier to grapple with or to deal with on the other side of things. So, yeah, it's very important that we understand more about death. And that's one of the things that I am present on YouTube to give a little bit of insight about. So, back to the point where I was saying that our loved ones choose when it's their time to go, whether it be at the hand of someone else or their own doing, they get to choose. Whenever they transition, they get to determine before they are officially out of here whether they want to return and continue their life's path or their journey in the form that they once had or in another form. So that's a choice to be made. Crazy as it may seem, that is something that I have gotten some insight from my guys on. So believe it or not, that's kind of um, how that goes. That's one component of it. But people enter our lives, whether it be our loved ones or friends or anybody that ever crosses our path, they are an extension of us. They come to teach us things on our journey and learn other things in the way of expansion for their journey. In so doing, we have to be sure that we learn the lessons that we are meant to from those people. But we don't often think about those things in the transition of that person. So One of the things that has become so much more clear, my brother um, transitioned. My brother transitioned 5 years ago in some months at this point. Um, and it was the hardest thing I've ever experienced. It was so tough. It was the darkest days of my life. I didn't think I would make it through it. I didn't think that there was a way out for me. It seemed like my whole life came to an end when his did. I didn't have any of the understanding of it that I do now. I was completely in the dark about what we know as death. So I took it so hard. There are so many things that come along with grief that you don't even really recognize are what's happening to people all around you. And then imagine that no one goes through life completely without experiencing death or transition in one form or another. But where a physical being is concerned, we tend to take it hardest when they are closer to us. My grandmother had transitioned just shortly after I moved from home to my to where I'm living now in another state, and I ended up having to go back um, to see her off and all that. So I did deal with that. I felt a little bit from it, but my brother was. We always had this soul connection that was unsurpassed. Like we didn't keep in contact always. We rarely talked to each other really. Um, but we were just super connected. Our souls were connected. We definitely have past life experience together in some way, shape, form, or fashion. But either way, because of that connection, it just made it really, really hard. Now, one thing, I've never been a super emotional person prior to my brother passing, but on this side of things, Shorty is soft. But it's for the good. And it took me, I say only, I suffered on account of grief and not knowing how to deal or manage for about a year and a half solid. I couldn't feel shit, completely numb, outside of just like sadness. That was all I was able to feel. Sadness, depression, everything dark. I didn't feel any kind of light. I didn't feel any kind of solace or like I didn't feel anything but freaking sad. So for a year and a half. And there were certain characteristic events that I'll probably get into a little bit later that begin to teach me along the way um, what transition really is and what that looks like in the spirit realm. Anyway, yeah. So I'll talk a little bit more about some of those things right now. It seems like I'm kind of rambling. I'm just kind of going on a little bit. It's my first ish video, and I don't plan to do any editing. I'm just going to tell you guys and talk to you guys from my heart space the things that I feel are necessary to be said at the time. Whatever the topic is, I just plan to share with you guys the insight that I have on it. Fortunately for us all, I am quite the intuitive. I get a lot of downloads from the universe, from source, spirit, however you consider it, God, whatever you call it. And it's so interesting to be embarking on this new side of things because I never thought that I would be on the internet sharing any of my thoughts in this way or any other way on anything. I actually have a number of things that I can teach you guys, tell you guys, show you guys, but we'll see how they translate. But I really want to get to the heart of a lot of matters because we are living this life like we are only human beings, and we're not. We really aren't. We are so much more spiritual than we are human. Recognizing and existing in living in this physical form. But we'll talk more about everything later.